Thinking about self-publishing and don't know where to start? Join the Spa Girls each week for 30 minutes or 40 minutes or 50 minutes of honest advice, tips and resources.
Nothing like starting as a
That's
professional.
about right.
It's
Yeah.
us.
I'm Trudy J and I am here with Wendy Vella,
Hello.
Cheryl Phipps
Hi there.
and Shah Barrett.
Hello.
Hello, hello. I do like to be professional.
At all
it is one
times.
of the core tenets of my belief system.
One of the hallmarks of your
my
the way
entire
you run
career.
yeah.
I am.
Anyway,
most
No,
of the time.
today?
no comment.
Yeah.
No
Well,
comment on any of that.
No comment. All right, good. I'm glad that I have your faith and utter commitment to my continuing
because,
success.
Yeah.
Our 9 favorite writing tools is what we're talking about today.
Excellent.
We thought we'd talk about some of the things we've been using recently, and I've got a couple of new ones that I've just been using and loving. So I wanted to, it's all about me again. So
New and loving is good. We like that.
Yeah. So where do we want to start?
We're at the
top.
very beginning.
Oh, okay. Oh, it's exciting. Well, I just bought a social media scheduling platformy thing called Promo Republic, which I am loving. So in the old days,
it's been recommended by a couple of recent guests, hasn't it? Yeah.
Well, a friend of mine recommended it to me, and she loved it. Where I bought it was through AppSumo, which is a email list that I joined a while ago, and they basically promote different apps that come up, and they have deals with the app producers, I guess, developers, and they offer special prices on different apps and things. And so they're the ones that do the deposit photos deals every so often. So you get 100 images on deposit photos for $39 through AppSumo. So
how much is this scheduling thing?
The scheduling thing through AppSumo, and I don't know if when you listen to this, you'll have to go and check whether it's still available. But for me, it cost, I think it was $49 for a lifetime access.
Wow, that's good.
Oh,
so it's really, but if you go like to the Promo Republic site and the deal isn't on, I think it was like $9 a month. So it wasn't lifetime access. You had to pay and that was just the basic. It was a solopreneur kind of thing. So if the AppSumo deal isn't on, that would be your price. So it's 9 times 12,
that much.
Around 100
and something, just under 108 or something like that. So it could be potentially $100 a year, or alternatively, if the AppSumo thing is on, you could get it for $49. You can upgrade to the next level if you buy a second $49. So 2 lots of 49, what's that, 78? Is that right?
The adding.
Yeah, I know. I'm not a math person.
It's not 78, it's 98. But
I was so
keep
close.
going.
I was so close. I knew there was an 8. Oh God, don't ask me to do your numbers.
But if it's no longer available, it's worth signing up to AppSumo because they do get repeated.
Yeah, it comes back.
It doesn't cost you anything to sign up again.
So AppSumo is free. So
that's how I got Brain FM for a lifetime license. I think it was something like $39. Same way, and now it's like.
So actually, we're talking about two tools here. One of them is the AppSumo thing, but the second is Promo Republic. True. So I've set up and I've gone into Promo Republic, and the cool thing is they have. So there's a calendar, nifty little calendar. You link it to all of your social media stuff. And so, for example, the other day I was setting up all my Facebook posts, and I had the monthly calendar sitting there, and they give suggestions. So it's not just that you can link to Facebook and they post it for you. It's that they will say, okay, well, you need to have an engagement post, and then you click into it, and then they offer up suggestions of engagement posts that you could post. And they've got pre-done ones that you can just use, or you can create your own. So not only
the sound of that.
Yeah, it's awesome. And then then they'll say, okay, you need to do I can't remember what it was called, but it was basically they provided a list of links to blogs and websites and things like that, blog posts that you could, that might have content that was relevant for you, and you just find the ones that are relevant and use those. So it's kind of all there for you to just kind of put in. It's so much easier. Oh my God, it took so much less time. So as well as being able to schedule it and just have it running and not have to worry about it. It was awesome.
Cool.
Nice.
So I would recommend that. I even I haven't tried it for Instagram. I think there's a few linking issues with Instagram. You have to do certain things. You can do it. It's just I've got to figure out how. But I've done all the Facebook. I did a Twitter post, I think, and you can do Pinterest through there. So it's so far so good, and I would totally recommend it, especially if you can get the AppSumo deal. So
All right.
Nice.
Sounds awesome, actually.
Yeah.
Seeing as I hate that stuff.
yeah. It's not going to get better if you keep talking about it in those terms.
I love it, but
Thank you. Thank
that
you.
better?
It's much better.
Yeah, okay. So, wake up in the morning and go, yay,
Yay.
Yay for social media.
time to post. Get that stuff up there.
Oh dear.
Okay, so let's
Okay.
move on to the next one.
Mm.
The list says plotter, but that would be me again. So I think we should go to someone else. So Trello,
Yeah.
let's go to the next
Okay.
one.
Trello, I mean, I've talked about Trello before, but I've always used it on the kind of the to-do list side of things for Trello. But when I was Googling around, as one does, there are a number of different, and I'll put a couple in the show notes, people that have set up like plotting on Trello, using Trello as a plotting board, and you do different cards for different scenes and all of that, and it's similar visual. Yes, Trudy?
Sorry, I'm putting my hand up for those people who can't see me visually. Could you just take a step back and explain what Trello is? Because I feel like maybe we need to just...
So Trello is basically an online project management Kanban board. It has a free, like most of these programs, it has a free aspect, which honestly that's probably all you need. I've upgraded to because I run everything through Trello, Spy Girl stuff, writing stuff, business stuff, like lots and lots of stuff. But under normal circumstances, if you're not a Trello addict like myself, you get 10 different boards, which is effectively, we think of them as whiteboards, but they're digital, and that's probably the best way to think about it. And I really like it. It has a calendar aspect. Yes, you have to be online to actually see it. I think there's an app, but I don't have it on my phone, but I really, really, really like it. And if you're a visual person like myself, but you haven't quite, you want something more than just post-it notes, for example, that fall off on the floor. And anyway, Trello's the one.
Well, we use
highly
Trello,
recommend.
don't we?
We
as
use
Spy
Trello,
Girls,
and it's
know?
a wonderful collaboration tool because everybody can get in there and see what's going on.
And I remember when we first started using Trello and you suggested it, and I was a little bit like, oh, it's just another platform that we're going to have to go to, and it's a bit annoying. Why don't we try something else? But actually, now that we use it, and it's an amazing place to have all the information that we need, and we can just go there. Like I'm constantly just, what are we doing this week? And I just go in and I check it, and
it's
it
easy.
works.
So we've morphed, like naturally. We originally had a little, like a private Facebook group for the four of us, and we'd post things on there, and then we've morphed off into Trello, and you can put links on there too. So how we run, if you like, this is a bit like how the sausage is made behind the scenes, but we have our Trello board for our planning and for our scheduling and all of that kind of thing, and then we have Dropbox where we keep files and documents and audio files, and on Trello you can link to that Dropbox. So it's kind of like a live, if you like, filing system for all of us. It's great. So but it was really more the plotting thing that I haven't personally done it, but there are some really interesting YouTube videos online of authors how they use Trello to do it, and it's really cool. So
That's fascinating. It's like using things like Scrivener for Bibles, for story Bibles.
Yes.
Like taking a platform that's used for something else and just kind of switching it up and use it for something else. Yeah.
It's cool. I mean, I think that's cool, and it's interesting to look at how other people use things. You learn a lot from how other people approach things as well. So
no, that's really cool. Awesome.
It fits
So
us. It definitely works and fits for us, doesn't it? Trello.
It does.
Even just that I was posting the this week's podcast on this week, and I went, oh god, I just can't remember all the links, kind of thing. And then I went back to Trello and look, conveniently the links that we Cher put in when we did the podcast were there, and I did like just stuff like that maybe in the past I would have had to listen to the whole podcast again and try and pick up the links or
go through emails or open Word documents.
That's exactly right.
So it's awesome.
Big
all right,
tick for Trello.
Big tick for Trello. And it's Taco from Trello, which always amuses me. The guy, he uses the taco pictures, so it's not just me that thinks of tacos when I think of taco. All right, so who wants to go next? We've got Reader Links next on the list.
Okay, well, it's a subscription service that provides tools, marketing, tracking. For me, Read Links has tidied everything up. So how it works is it's a massive tool. It's got so many things, I can't break everything down. But when I very first went in there, I added some Amazon data, and it does I put my Facebook ads in there. So it collates every single thing, and it breaks it down. It tells me how many books I've sold, where I've sold them, what series. It's all stuff you can get from other places, but it puts it all into one place. It also it will give you read through. So what your sell and read through rates are per series, and at just a glance. It does all of that sort of side of things. I can go back and track at the beginning of the month to this month how I was doing in, say, Jan as opposed to March. But it's very easy because it's all in one spot. Which is, and you can get custom links that you can create, and they will, deliver the reader to a specific URL. So you can do all of that sort of stuff. You can actually set up ARC and beta reader teams in there as well. And it tracks my ad spend, breaks that down, and it'll at a glance I can go into a book that I'm advertising on Facebook or Amazon, and it'll be either in the red or the black, and it'll tell me the days that my sales started to go down. And it's very simple for someone like me that doesn't like to have to go into a million different platforms to check things out. I go into one place, and there it all is, and I can track what's how everything's working, how everything's selling. And at a glance, when I go in on the dashboard, it tells me what my month sales are or my day sales. But it also has the book covers up on the ones that are selling and how they're selling, and how they're tracking that month so far with the amounts they've earned so far. And that's inclusive of page reads and sales. So I really like it. It works for me. The links are good. I was a little bit nervous about going via a link to Amazon, but it seems to be working really well. They're very, very user-friendly. Their help desk is, my phone's ringing. Sorry about that. Oops, good Lord. Can we all hear that? That's excellent. Let me decline that right now. Sorry about it. I thought I'd turned it off, but it was my watch I hadn't turned off. Anyway, so no, I highly recommend it, because for someone like me who doesn't like to use a whole lot of different things, it works really well.
And it's a subscription service again, isn't it? And it needs that online connection.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
And it has access to the API of Amazon, so it's connected to your Amazon.
Yes. So you go in and you set it up. It's very easy to set up. You put a link in Amazon, and you just go in every day, and you go click read links, and it just updates and gathers all the information, shoots it across, and you go across to read links, and it's all there. I do have to add my Facebook data. That's not been done as sort of a progressive thing at the moment yet, but I'm sure it will one day. So I have to go in and do that. But I just like the one-stop shop aspect of it.
No, that's awesome.
It
And
really
it looks
is.
pretty, right? Like it creates nice graphs, and you can kind of look at it. Like sometimes I think you go to these platforms and it's like, oh, but what does it actually mean? And how do I, and connecting it to your ads and your, your sales and your ads in one platform, and they can create that, I like that. That's awesome.
Yeah, no, it's very user-friendly, and there's a lot of tutorials in there. As I say, their help desk is great. They've got a really, really good interactive Facebook page. So, and that's really helpful, that you don't have to wait for days to get help. That works well. So I highly recommend Reader Links.
Okay, awesome. Okay, next one on the list was Book Funnel,
which I think might be me again. So do you want to move on to Cher?
Oh yes, I think we should make Cher talk for a little bit.
I do.
She's been quiet there in the corner.
So what shall I talk about? Shall I talk about
your magical spreadsheets?
They're not magical.
They are magical. They're like magical guru spreadsheets.
I've posted a couple of them on Spa Girls over the time, but just in case our listeners or watchers on YouTube haven't seen, I've got a few graphs and spreadsheets that I use all the time. And they're not necessary. They just work for me. And I think that's what we were talking about before, is adapting stuff to fit what you need, your needs. So the first thing I've done is I've made a little, and for those that are watching us, they can see I've got a little Excel spreadsheet here. And so what it is basically all my sales off of Amazon, because I am in KU. and it's just listing the books, the paperbacks, the page reads, the amount that I would get for those page reads for that particular month, and the total that I'm paid in my currency, which is obviously New Zealand. And so that I do that for the 5 biggest Amazon places for me, which is .com, UK, Germany, Canada, and Australia. And I also have at the end the FX rate, because I like to watch that go up, and it hasn't been. I like to know in particular what that is, and then so I always know what I'm going to get paid in 2 months' time, roughly. But
so how often do you update that, Cher?
I usually update that at the beginning of the month, because that's when all the figures will be set from the month before. So of course those figures then I'm not going to get paid for another 2 months. But yeah, I think for me it just keeps a track on what I should be expecting in the next month or the next month after that.
And you're an accounts person, so you understand all the numbers and how to put them in.
Well, I understand money. I understand that side of it. So yeah, I just like to know. For me, it just kind of helps me see straight away what I could be spending with ads, like what percentage I could give myself to spend for ads, and even just things like book covers and all that, what month is that going to fit into? Not that I've got a tally for that there, but it's just showing me what profit I've got, so therefore what I can spend.
So it's kind of like a snapshot for you just to take in as an overview. Yeah, I like that.
And like I say, not everybody's going to want to do that, but I don't, it takes me, 5 or 10 minutes a month.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
So, yeah.
It'd take me an hour, and I'd be swearing the whole time.
I couldn't even create a spreadsheet.
Because all you're doing is putting in those 5 top numbers. You've got a line for each thing that you have to put in, and then you've got a tally at the end of the month.
And have you set it up so that it works with all those like weird algorithm, adding things and multiplying and column stuff? And
you mean formula?
Yeah. You knew what I want.
Yeah, you know that magic. That magic is part of those spreadsheet things.
You knew what I meant. Okay.
Kind of.
Do you know formulas?
I do know formulas.
She does.
Very basically, I don't get into any deep stuff, but I know how to do an automatic sum, and that's all you need for a spreadsheet.
That's my limit of Excel.
Well, I can do formulas, but I mean, it's that's a bit more labour intensive, and you don't actually need it. Just an auto sum.
It's a miracle to me. It's a miracle of life. Anyone can do formulas.
And to be honest, I'm putting these in manually because this is in the back of my diary. So I just updated and I update that manually. So I'm not even using the auto sum. I'm just printing that off because I don't want to keep going back into different files.
Awesome.
Very cool.
In one place.
Nice
and the
work.
other thing is I've got 2 things here. So one is really easy, and a lot of people will have this, is just, and I only use this when I'm writing, so not when I'm editing or anything like that. And it's just a little day-by-day accounting of words written.
Nice.
So I can see by the end, like we often talk about how much we want to write per day and how much we want to write per week. This just keeps you on track so that if you are falling behind one day, the next day you've got to make it up. If that's your deadline, if you have to have, say, 5,000 words written in a week, it doesn't really matter what day you write them on, as long as they add up to 5,000.
And I think that's important. Like, I think anyone who doesn't keep a track of kind of what they're writing per day or what their goals are is going to get lost a little bit. So having something like that, even if it's just to say, okay, today I write 500 words, or to add them up so that you make it to 5,000 in that week or whatever, just as long as they're written down somewhere, I think that adds a big
Well, if you've got Scrivener, they're in there, aren't they?
Yes, that's exactly right. And you might not want something like that, but it's actually a good way, to keep track of the book that you're working on, especially if you're working on more than one book at a time, which a lot of people do. Again, it's not necessary. I like it, and I made it.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
The other
last one is my favorite.
The other big thing now, this is your favorite. So this is a doozy of a one.
Wow.
Does not
gosh,
fit on one
no,
page.
that's not the one that's my favorite. I like your other one.
Oh, this is not the one? Oh, maybe
no, I like the chapter by
chapter.
chapter, like the one that says chapter and then what's in the chapter and then the days.
Oh, sorry. I did not print that off today. I do have a rough copy somewhere.
That's all right.
That's all right. Show us that
Yes, I
one.
do.
Show us the
Yes, I
big
do.
scary one.
I've just let me
Oh,
just
there
show
it
you
is.
this one quickly, because this is the chapter, and it's so rough because what I'm doing is I'm rewriting a book that was published in a different genre, in a different subgenre. So I'm breaking down the chapters that I've already worked. And so I've got a chapter, I've got the day. So the book starts off on day 1, obviously, but then chapter 2 might also be on day 1. And then I've got a column for the time of day.
Nice.
So is it morning, afternoon, evening?
Mm.
So sometimes you could have, 3 in a mystery, cozy mystery, you could have 3 or 4 chapters all set on the same day.
Yeah,
And sometimes the
course.
same, like
So is
a
that
couple in the
is
afternoon
that
or
a
whatever.
Word
So
doc or is that a spreadsheet?
this is
Okay,
just a Word doc with
with
a
a
table.
and it's
Tables
basically a
tables are
timeline. I think
really
that's
easy.
such a nice,
It's
simple,
just
I
but
can do that.
elegant
the timeline.
solution.
I just love it because this makes me sound really dumb. I feel like I'm just going to sound dumb all through this episode. But it just, when I saw that Cheryl on her desk and she was like, oh yeah, this is what I do. I was like, of course this is what you do, but it never occurred to me before. Like write the chapters and then say what day it is. Like just to make sure that you know what, because I'm always getting lost in time in my books. I could never figure out, and I have to really carefully go through them and make sure I haven't kind of, Tuesday's not become Wednesday suddenly and then went back to Monday or something.
And 15 things haven't happened in the last hour.
Especially when you're writing a mystery, it happens. It just
I love that.
So
Very
that's
cool.
basically it. And we can give you copies of these. It's not really a big deal. But on that note, while I'm doing that, I also have my character list. And so as I'm adding more characters, I just put them in handwritten. And those 2 pages just sit in the front of my diary, so they're always with me.
Nice.
And then lastly, if you're not too exhausted by all of this, is these are all of my books. These are all of my books, and these are all of the promos. And you can see that I've started with different colours, and each colour represents a major advertising promo. So like ENT is green, a written word media, which is fussy, which is bargain booksy and free booksy is yellow. And then I've got all sorts of other ones like Facebook and Amazon ads and all that sort of thing. But basically, I'm keeping a track of when I want to put in my big ads. So in here, which are not highlighted, which is further along the sheet if you're only listening, I can see that if I've had a big promo with one particular company, I'm not going to do that again for at least 3 months or maybe 6 months, depending on what the kind of promo it is.
I think we might have to take some snapshots of these and put them in for the people.
Yes.
So that they can see what you're talking about.
Year. Each one of these I do is for a whole year. So they do get pretty messy, to be fair, but at least I know I don't have to look up on anything. Like you can go into, say, BookBub if you've applied for ad and see when you've been declined or if it's been accepted. But this is I just look on this and it's got all of them. Every single place I go to. And I tend to go to the same ones and then have a few smaller ones tucked in there. But,
That's
like
awesome.
that. Elegant and simple solutions,
Like,
but it's all together
simple,
in
but-
one place. Yeah.
And again, that's just a table.
Yeah. Nice.
I was going to say like Cher, elegant and simple, but she's not simple.
No.
Not very elegant either, really.
No, you can own elegant.
Yeah.
No, I like it.
Yeah, no, very
Elegant
good.
and organised. How's that? Let's go with
Excellent.
Superb.
Superb. What's
Right.
next?
Next on the list, should we go for book funnel then?
Yep, we can go for book funnel. So basically, it's a platform for authors to give away free books. How does that sound? So yeah, I mean, it's you set it up with, say, like for me, I do bonus epilogues. That's how I get people to sign up for my email newsletter. So what I do is I'll go to Book Funnel and get a link, but they have to sign up with their email newsletter. And so there's email address. So there's different options. You can just give it to them on the link, or you can have them sign up, or you can set a time period or whatever. But it's really good for giving away, for lead magnets, for signing up for your email newsletter, for putting a free, say if you've written a book just for your email newsletter, you can put it into Book Funnel, get the link and put that up, promos, excerpts. It's a great way to set up a landing page. They can come in, they can say, and it'll say, get your free book here, bang, click, off they through, rather than just clicking, on a link. It actually sets up a nice landing page for you. I think it's a great tool.
It's actually a brilliant way to send arcs.
Yep.
Mm.
Yep. It is.
That's how I do mine. Send my arcs
Yeah.
to them.
Yeah.
And I think the very best thing is, first of all, it was designed by an author for authors. So it's
Yeah.
got that
Yes,
author
yes.
needs at the front. But they look after the support side for people with the side loading, whether it's to their Kindle or their PC or however, because if you're dealing with people, as much as we all love dealing with people constantly, is that it can be really time consuming to provide that kind of support. And that's, I think, the key.
Yes.
The killer app, if you like, of BookFunnel is they've got superb support.
Yeah.
And there's not a single device or question that they haven't dealt with.
Yeah.
Because some people, especially people that are technology challenged, which a lot of us are in different ways, just won't be able to get that to load. And they don't get it. So BookFunnel will tell them how.
Massive time
Exactly.
saver. And again, they've got a free aspect to it, haven't they? Is it a free or is there a trial? Free period to trial?
There's so long as
I don't know.
I feel like it's only like $20 a year.
It's not very expensive.
No,
it's a very, very small amount for an annual fee.
I think it's more than that.
Is it? Or maybe it's gone up since
since when we first joined, it probably has.
I think it's about $150 a year.
Really?
I think it depends on how much you're sending out, kind of thing. I think there might be.
That's true. That is true.
I think it could be like.
But it's the old story, isn't it? You pay money to save yourself time, or to be able to use your time in a more effective manner. And I always say paying money to get somebody else to do the support.
Just FYI, first time author, $20.
There you go.
Which is $1.67 month paid annually. And that's the perfect plan that's for one pen name, 500 downloads up to 5 books.
There you
custom
go.
land. And then it goes up to 100 from there, and then 250 for the.
So if you're starting out and you've got a freebie in order to start building your newsletter, for example, you've got a short story, a novella, you could use that $20 a year and do it that way.
Yep. Absolutely.
Nice.
And it's a very professional look, which is great. Like go to the landing page, see this, and you set it up. So it's great.
You can customize it to your own color.
Yeah, absolutely.
And also that reminders for people if you're doing art, if they haven't downloaded it yet.
And they also do group promotions now. I've done
that's true.
1-2 with those, and they're pretty good. It's just another way to kind of work in with other authors who are in your genre. They send out reminders if you sign up for me, it's urban fantasy, so I get notifications saying when these other urban fantasy group promotions going on, and
and you can actually look down the list of people that have already signed up.
So you can tell who else is going to be a part of it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Love BookFunnel.
Yeah. So go BookFunnel. So, Cher, what was your second one?
That's a very good question.
We've got Kindle Trends, Grammarly, and Plotter.
So my one was Kindle
Trends.
one was Kindle Trends, and we recently had on Nat Connors from Kindle Trends, who's a fellow Kiwi, but that's not just because it's a new service. And it's particularly good if you're looking to change genre, or if you're looking to expand your portfolio and to do research, a deep dive into the type of covers, the type of blurbs, the type of what's market percentage, that kind of thing. It's basically doing the research for you, and like with all of these tools.
Your sound's gone in and out, Cher. Like all of these tools.
Sorry. How's that? Is that better?
Yeah.
Like all of these tools, you can do all of this yourself, but by using a service, it should be saving you time and money and doing it more effectively. And if you're into that kind of research, Kindle Trends is really, really well worth checking out. It's very cost effective. Nat is extremely, again, like everybody that we've talked about here already today, very responsive to support questions. And it's by authors for authors. And I think anything with that as a basis, with the exception of Trello, but that's slightly different, is, it's coming from that place of understanding of what we're going through. So I'll link in the show notes to the episode with Kindle Trends, but definitely worth checking out.
Awesome. Yeah. I've been looking. He's got just started up a new urban fantasy one as well. So
he's continuing to grow it, and he's very responsive. So if an author's saying, look, I really want the trends in, for example, contemporary romance with cowboys, you kind of talk to him and he'll be able to, I'm sure, really give you a deep dive into that kind of topic.
Yeah. So and the other point to make is that if you want to listen to the episode that we had with him and watch the video of it, the YouTube, he showed some of the stuff that he does and we kind of talked through it a little bit. So that might be a really good place to start for that.
And also in the show notes of that episode, we've got screenshots of what the reports look like as well. But I mean, there's so much information that it pulls out that it can be quite overwhelming to start off with. So just go through like everything.
Basics.
Start with the basics and what you want to know.
Don't go crazy.
I think the good thing too is that it's all done by email. He's updated it every month. And so you can go back and check how those words are changing for keywords. How everything is performing.
What's super helpful is like for one aspect, he does a tag cloud of the words that are used in blurbs, and that's really interesting. You know,
cool.
And we're not saying you have to write your blurb just using those tag words, but if you're writing in a particular subgenre, and whatever word, like it's really good to use those. Don't reinvent the wheel. Use those words that are really selling, because they're the top sellers that he's picking up.
And sometimes it's not like life-ending words. I'm thinking for urban fantasy, it was like world, and it's often probably saving the world or life, or so she was running for her life, like that kind of thing. Like it sort of shows you maybe the kind of aspects that are going to be in that kind of genre. So maybe a sweet romance might have more about family and home or something like that. Is the keywords, and those are the kind of things to think about.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Okay. I think we're good with that one, aren't we?
Yeah.
So I'm going to do
one more.
We've got two more. I'm going to do Plotter next. So Plotter is something else. I've just I've used it for the last 2 books I've written. So and I am finding, at first I wasn't sure about it, because it's a program that you purchase and you can use it. You create a file, and then you use that file to create your plot, your timeline for your book. And I was like, it's very linear, But then what I really have realized I like about it is that you can have multiple timelines underneath each other. So what I've done is I do one main plot line for what happens in the book, and then underneath it I create another line, and that's the character arc. So it's like my characters feeling their emotions and feelings and what's happening to them in the inside in the next line underneath that. And then if there's subplots underneath that, so if there's like another character that I want to make sure that I get them in at certain points in certain chapters, that I put them in there. And it's just a visual, it's very visual. And I think I'm the same as Cher, like we talked about with Trello. I can look at it and at a glance see that in chapter 1 or scene 1, I have this happening. This is the emotion that the character needs to be feeling. And this is, if there's an extra thing that another character is feeling or I need to incorporate in there. And I just have been finding that quite useful, that breakdown and the ability to kind of see it so clearly just there on the computer screen. And then it does have other tabs. So you can go and you can put all the information about characters. You can actually have one, as my understanding, one kind of file and then have multiple books inside it. So you could write an entire series in one file and then keep your same character information and your same setting information all together, and then click into the different books for the different timelines.
Oh, wow.
So it's all in one spot, which I've been enjoying, actually. Okay. I mean, I'm sure there's, as always with these things, there'll be things that I'm not using.
Yeah, so many. I just downloaded it. I did the 30-day trial on it.
Yeah. So it's fascinating. I mean, I know who knows if you'll actually go into it, but it's
I think I downloaded it too when it very first came out, and I'm a visual person, but I actually found it just overwhelming. And I think it's the old story. You've got to actually use it and actually start putting something in there.
And
It's quite difficult to get an overview when you're just kind of looking at it. It just doesn't make sense.
And that was my
for
thought.
me.
Like initially I was like, oh, I don't know how to use this. And it's that thing, you've got to get past that initial barrier. And once I started filling it out, I did that first line and I thought, right, well, that's my normal plot done. And then I was like, actually, I can add an extra layer. Actually, I can put this here. Actually, I can make notes about what I'm going to do. A lot of actuallys. And it's like, so normally I would have just done that in Word. Like I would have done a physical, I would have sat down with an A3 paper and I draw a line and I literally start making notes in there. And so I can kind of do the same thing, but it's on the computer. And then I can, and they actually, you can have the line drawing and then you click to the next thing and it's an outline and it comes up as a Word document. So like, you know, in that text style document. So you could have it written like that. And I imagine you can print it. I haven't tried, but maybe you can't. I don't know. You can tell that I'm an expert.
That's helpful.
If you can see it on the screen, you could print it. Like,
I imagine
there's a way of doing
like,
it.
So I'm sure there will be. So you don't have to have it always in the line drawing, but it just kind of, I don't know,
I liked the look of it, I must admit.
Wow.
I'm probably not going to use it, but I liked the look of it. And I did start putting a few things in there.
Okay.
I'm not going to lie.
Even if it was just ideas.
Names. I actually put a photo of my hero in there.
Wow.
You could bung scenes that you're in your head. Like you can think, oh, there'd be this funny scene.
I don't know. You know, like I just actually fancied somewhere that I could just throw everything to do with a book. Not so much write the book, but like everything that's relating to that book and that series can go into that. Yeah, you know, like that actually looked like it would work for me for that reason.
Yeah, like it becomes a series Bible, right?
Yeah.
And it is set up like that. So there are sections where you can do character setting.
Yeah, there is.
Notes,
and you can put
notes,
pictures
pages
in there, which is great, you know, and that sort of stuff. I spent far too much time doing that.
So was it different from Scrivener though? Because Scrivener it's sort of
no, probably not. But
it's prettier than Scrivener. And Scrivener, actually, what you would do if you were creating a Bible in Scrivener, I mean, they have the character and the settings things down the bottom, but it never sort of that. It never seemed like a big important part of the process. And I think if you wanted to have multiple books, for example, in one Scrivener file, it ends up being really massive. Like for me, I do a folder for one chapter in there. I think maybe I've seen people do like one folder for an act, and then they have multiple each page inside of Scrivener is a chapter, but I don't like it like that. Like I like to have a folder and a chapter, and that just makes sense to me. So if I was trying to do multiple books inside of Scrivener, it would just get really big. Versus this one, it's not, I'm not writing in it, I'm just doing the plotting and the planning. And then I'm just now putting the plotting into my Scrivener file, and it's I don't know, I'm just really enjoying the kind of level of detail that I've gotten now, because I had to think it out. Well, I didn't have to, but I chose to use these different layers in the plotter system. Made me think more about different stuff that I might not have otherwise thought of, because there wasn't the space on my piece of paper.
Okay.
Good.
Very cool. And it's pretty new as well, isn't it? So I think there's a Facebook group where they're still developing and they're still responding to, you know, requests and that kind of thing.
There's a good YouTube video on it too.
And it's another example of an author doing something for authors. So
certainly a lot of hype around it.
Yeah. So last one we've got is Grammarly.
Okay, so I'm sure that most people have heard about Grammarly, and the good thing about Grammarly is that, again, you can get your free sample to work in. And actually starting out, that's probably all you need if you just want a quick check of your work. And
so what is it? Explain what it is.
It's just a program that will let you check your punctuation, your spelling, and the grammar. Hence the name Grammarly. But again, after the free version, then you can go up to a premium, which is $12 a month, and then that goes into it a bit deeper. It goes into the style. It comes up with tone and the conciseness of your writing. And then after that, you can go to a business plan, which is $12.50 a month, so not much more. But in that one, you can get teams. So if you're working in it and you want to send it to your editor, or maybe if there's a group of you working on the same project, you can send it to them and they can also work on it. So it's quite, I've never done that side of it, and I probably never would. But for me, I like it when I've had my critique and I've had my copy edit, and then I want to make some changes arbitrarily or because of the review that makes sense. Because a lot of reviews don't. And, or even the fact that I've got an art reader come back to me late or something after I publish and I want to change it. So what I'll do is I'll go back into my Vellum formatting tool, which is my last step before I actually put it on Amazon, and I'll take that chapter with its new changes and I'll throw that into Grammarly and just check that because I've made some changes, I haven't also made some errors, which is highly likely with my propensity to throw commas at any given project.
Yeah,
willy-nilly.
So it's a little bit like Pro Writing Aid, isn't it?
Of
Which
course,
is what I
of
use.
course.
Yeah,
Yes.
same sort of thing.
So I think you could have one or the other, and some people have both because they do fulfill different needs. And I do hear some negativity with both, that they don't work the way people want them. But for me, it certainly fills a gap. And I think it's quite good to go through something like that after you've done when you're doing your self edits before you send it to your editor, to go through something that it just doesn't sound right. You can throw it in there, and maybe it's just the wording. Sometimes you write a sentence or a paragraph and you could do it so much better and you can't see it, but you know it's not right. But, that just helps me.
I think for me it's American spelling. Like I think I go through and think I've picked up all the New Zealandisms or whatever, and then just throwing it in something like that appeals to me, to just pick up the set it to American spelling.
I always get confused over the double L's, like in annulled or excelled, and is it one L, is it two,
and the Z's and S's,
and the Z's and the S's and the O's and the U's.
If you can get rid of those before you go to your editor, because when I was first getting editors, they were spending all this time changing my S's to Z's, and it's actually just a waste of their time, because that's something really easy that you can fix with you. I mean, and if you don't want to pick it up yourself, using something like this to help you find them, and it just saves. Then the editor can actually be looking for something more.
Absolutely.
Perfect.
Good point.
All right. Well, that is all of our recommendations, our tools, our faves, our besties,
go-tos.
Our go-tos.
Not necessarily all the ones we use.
No,
there are a few more.
Don't tell them we use lots of them.
Well, we don't, but individually we have our favourites. And
some of us more than others, eh?
These are ones we're trying to find new ones, right? So ones that maybe we hadn't mentioned before.
Exactly.
And I'd like to point out that none of this is affiliate sponsored, by the way. This is all stuff that we genuinely use.
Which is probably kind of silly on our part.
Yeah, maybe we should be affiliates.
So, although, you know what, I kind of like keeping us pure and, as we are. Pure as the driven snow.
Pure and innocent, sweet and kind, delightful.
Crazy and nutty.
I don't think you picked up crazy and nutty. I don't think that was in the right vein. I think that you took the...
Absolutely.
Anyway, awesome. Well, thank you for listening to another episode of the Spa Girls podcast. We are very grateful to have you here with us for another week. Where can we be found if someone wants to find us?
Come check out the show notes at spagirlspodcast.com, and we'll put in a couple of screenshots there of Cheryl's fabulous documents there as well. And also... don't forget to watch us on YouTube if you want to see, us in all our glory.
All of our in all of our offices, really, aren't we? We're all sitting in our offices. Oh, you're not in office. No,
not yet. Mine's being painted.
As soon as it's painted, it'll be Wendy's office. Exclusive preview of Wendy's office. Only on Spa Girls YouTube.
Whoa.
Awesome.
All right. Thank you so much for listening. Bye-bye.
Bye.